What's going on, man? It's your boy Jay Holley, and we are back with another episode of Unfiltered with Jesse Holley. Thank you. You're all far too kind. You could have been anywhere in the world, but I am so glad you are here with me. I got company. I brought a guest. We got people that came by to see us. Man, you guys know what you got to do. Like, subscribe, Fanatics Views, Unfiltered with Jesse Holley, Instagram, Mr. Fourth and Long, Facebook, Twitter, Mr. Fourth and Long. Man, all of the above. Go out there, hit the notification button. Make me a part of your family, okay? Make me a part of what you do. I want to be a part of what you do. But you guys know how I like to get down. I like to get my motivation at the beginning because, let's be honest, a lot of you are not going to be here at the end. And that's okay because I'm just not for everybody. But before you go and before you leave, find 3 episodes. By the time that you see this one, this is episode 57. There'll be 57 out there. Find 3 of them. 15 minutes apiece. If you don't like those 3 episodes, find 3 more, and then 3 more, and then 3 more. Keep listening until you fall in love with me. I belong in your life. You belong in mine. All right, so here's the motivation I got for you today. You know, I like to bring my therapy sessions to the pod. I pay for it, and I give it to you for free. You come for the word, you stay for the sports. You feel what I'm saying? So in therapy this week, they asked me, we always come to a point in time where we go, you know, as you get older and you mature and you have families and things happen, the question is always asked, what would big you tell little you? And you think sometimes you go, boy, you have these thoughts and you have these things. But the question is now that I have for you, now that you've matured, now that you've been through some things, now that you've elevated and grown through some things, now that you've seen some detours happen in your life, now that you've dealt with some bad relationships, you've had some great relationships, some things have been all through your life. What would big you tell big you? That's the question. What would Big Jess tell Big Jess for the future? That's a question I want you to sit with. I want you to ponder with it a minute. I want you to have that in your space for a little while. Not little you, because little you is done. Little you can't do anything for you now. That's an afterthought. Now all you have is big you. So what would current big you tell big you to help big you in the future? All right? All right, let's get into this thing. I told y'all we brought company. We brought company. We brought a little boomer sooner to town. You know what I'm saying? We brought a little boomer sooner to town. You know what I'm saying? My God, man, thank you so much. Mark Clayton is in the building, brother. How are you? Brother. Good to see you, brother. Thank you so much, man, for coming out. I appreciate you giving me the time, man. And I'm not going to waste your time because I don't want you to waste mine. We jumping right into this thing, brother. So if you guys don't know, Mark Clayton, Boomer Sooner receiver, NFL wide receiver. And I want to start from the beginning. I want to start, high school, right? Like, was football the love, the first love, the only love? Was there something that came apart that was like, you know what? Nah, not really. I was baseball, I was basketball, I was track. It was like, nah, I was born and bred to play football. Yep. And when I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it the best.
Bro, I'm sure just like you, all over the place.
Yeah.
I was basketball, football, track. I even did tennis.
Okay.
But no, basketball was the love, bro. It's still love to this day.
Likewise.
And, football was something I did. I was a quarterback too.
Okay.
I wasn't even a receiver. So I didn't even make the transition to receiver until my the end of my junior year in high school. We had we had a really good team. We had 2 quarterbacks that went. One went to TCU. One went to Southern Nazarene. I was not playing in front of them, but they got hurt, and so I had to go play quarterback. And my first game was versus DeSoto. And so Arlington Sam Houston at DeSoto. And we need to win this game to go to the playoffs. And so it was funny because they had this in Mark Clayton We Trust on the walls at school. And, I'm walking through, I'm like,
yeah.
All right, we're going to be good. Bro, 30-0. We took that L. 30-0, man. And they, after the game, coach was like, hey, man, you thinking, I think we should move you to receiver. And I'm like, cool, let's do it. And so I played 1 game at receiver my junior year, and then go into the spring, and I'm in 7-on-7. And in my senior year, I'm locked and loaded at receiver. But
and then
that's
now,
how I made it.
So you come to a point, and so tell me, like, what schools are coming in, right? Like, Are the schools coming in by the numbers? Are they saying, hey, we want you for quarterback, we want you to play this, we want you to play that? Or like, tell me about the recruiting process for you through that time back then.
Yeah, back then, so it was still, letters. And I'm sure today is Twitter and everything, X and everything.
That was a good thing, right? Back in the day, if you got the handwritten official letter.
That meant something.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, for all you youngsters in the new Twitterverse that we live in and the social media verse, back in our time, if your coach brought you mail or you got mail to the house and it was the handwritten card or the handwritten letter,
bro, that was it.
That was it.
That was it, man. You could golden.
Forget all the top 10 posts and your graphics and all that. If you got the letter, the handwritten letter,
they had to take that time. But so my first letter was from Purdue, and so Coach OZ, Ken OZ, amazing coach. That guy wanted to make sure every one of his kids went to college. To this day, everybody that played up under him absolutely loves him. And he knew his guys well, and he knew I wanted to be an engineer. And it's not ironic that the majority of the schools that first reached out to me were all engineering schools. So we had Purdue, I had Georgia Tech, I had Stanford. It went on and on and on. Engineering school. I thought this was amazing because I wasn't expecting to go to college.
Right.
I thought, I want to play basketball, and then I wasn't getting recruited in that. So I was like, well, I'll go to the service. And so as this started happening, I'm like, man, this is amazing, bro. So it was Purdue and all those schools came in. And then as I got into the season, I had a really good game in the beginning versus LD Bell. And then I had, I want to say Missouri came in. And then after that, it just went crazy. And then I had, and then of course, Oklahoma came through and Coach Venables stepped in and, the first time he came to the house and he talked to my mom, everybody in the house was just like, that guy's intense. Like, guy's intense. Yeah. And it just stuck with us. And as that process went on, obviously you know where I went.
Yeah. So now the question is, being from Texas, right? The question is always asked. Because like a lot of times you meet people and it's like, it's one way or the other. If you're from here, right? It's Texas, it's Oklahoma. And a lot of times, sometimes it's my granddad, my dad, my uncles. They rooted for this school. They rooted for that school. So it's a family lineage, right? It's in the family tree of this is who we root for. And if you get good enough, you think to yourself, this is where I'm going, right? Was that anything like that in your family? Was it like?
Right. It was. We wasn't. So my family. I was actually the first kid to go to college. Like my family.
But who'd your family root for though?
We were Cowboys. Okay. Like, through and through. I didn't watch the college. I don't even remember watching a college football game until really my junior year. Like I actually paid attention to a college game and I knew what was going on. It was OU versus Notre Dame, and when Coach Stoops had first got there. And all I remember is them throwing the ball all over the place. And so, that's how much I wasn't interested or my mindset or thought process in terms of college football. That's how far away I was. I didn't even know much about Oklahoma. And so as it started happening, I didn't have no bent in any direction towards anybody. It was just who's ever, talking good, I'm listening.
Right.
My first visit was to Minnesota because the coach was talking real good. Okay. And I was like, I'm in. I'll be up on a visit, surely. And so,
And so that's my next question is your 4 visits. You get 4 visits. I think it's 5 now. I think they give you 5 now, right? You get 5 visits, all expense paid. It's even more different now, because before then, if you got a little extra while you was on your visit, it had to be under the table. Like now, they just out there. They just out there now.
They're just throwing it.
They just out there now. They're just out there now throwing it around.
Making it rain.
So, of course, Oklahoma was a visit.
Yep.
Minnesota, you just said, was a visit.
Minnesota was a visit.
Who were your other 2 visits?
So Iowa State and Missouri.
Iowa State and Missouri.
Yep. And Iowa State was about me. So there was a kid, he was top 5 in the state at the time, Shadani Mitchell. And so it was him, and we had a pretty good offense. Our quarterback was good. He was being recruited. And then our center was pretty good. And this was the one school that all of us had in common. And so we were all like, well, let's do it. Let's take a trip. So we all went to Iowa State and had a good time. And it was just, boys and seniors getting, having our kind of senior trip
Right,
before
right,
we
right.
had our senior trip.
Right.
So that's what Iowa State was about. I wasn't really interested in Iowa State though.
And then, so you take these visits. What was your, like, I know that you eventually went to Oklahoma, but who was your best visit?
My best, Minnesota. Minnesota laid it out, bro. Yeah. Minnesota turned up, man. And if it was today, it would have been one of the ones that I'm sure the kids that have now, and it's accepted. It would have been one of them.
Right.
But Minnesota turned up, man. I had a really good time in Minnesota. It was just too damn cold.
Yeah, man.
It was so cold.
So you decide, you pick Oklahoma.
Yep.
Watch them on TV.
Yep.
You get there now. What is the initial experience at leaving here,
Man.
freshman in Oklahoma?
Yep.
Like, walk us through what that was.
First of all, like unlike you, I'm sure you always had the shoulders and the.
No, I walked on campus 160 pounds.
I won
soaking wet.
49.
Yeah.
On the get soaking
Yeah,
wet.
soaking wet.
5'9" and a half, 149, and the first. So the thing, one of the moments I remember the most was like standing there, and then a guy named Jamal Brown comes up, and he's 6'6", 335. He was a first rounder also, but man, it was just like that was eye opening. Going to the University of Oklahoma, and that was like I'm in this is the big boys club,
right?
And then getting into training camp, and I'll take it back. Summer workouts was a beast, and so get up there in the summer, and like in high school, I played all the sports, so I try to play everything to skip the off season of the other sport. You know what I mean? So I ain't trying to lift no weights, and so we get up there, and you can't cut. Like ain't no skipping, ain't no hiding, ain't no nothing. Like they got you. Bro, I had full body cramp week 1. I ruptured a pec muscle in the second week. It was kind of I thought I was getting swole, but it was a swollen muscle. But man, it was that summer I almost quit, to be honest. And I was like, bro, this is too much. And all the guys, were like, MC, come on, man. Actually, my grandma was like, she sniffed it out because she lived in Oklahoma City, so I have a ton of family there. And so I go to her house, and I'm like, I'm gonna hang out here for the summer, Grandma. Like I think we're off, and I'm gonna get a job, blah blah blah. And I'm telling her this, and she was like, Nah, I thought, this is a couple days in, and she's like, your mom told me that you're supposed to be here for summer training, right? And I was like, No, we off. And she was like, Well, let's just go see. And then she was like, let's just go see. Rest in peace. And so Monday we go up. And I'm like, dang, oh, man. Drive up, man. And to this day, Coach Stoops would tell this story. Coach Jackie Shipp would tell this story. My grandma walks up, and, she don't know. She's just trying to find out. And I ain't saying nothing.
But you know.
Like, I already know. And so as soon as she get there, Coach Shipp say, hey, MC, what up, man? He's like, hey, grandma, you talk to her. He's like, what you doing? She's like, oh, y'all got training? It's like, yeah, they've been training. Oh, he said that he was coming home. He said that y'all was off. And then Coach Shipp looked at me, said, get your ass in.
Yeah.
Then took me upstairs, had a talk with Coach Stoops, and then got with the boys. And then, they huddled around me like, bro, you good, bro? This sucked for all of us. And we're here. Like, you're going to be all right. And so that was that. I was almost out.
I love
the grandma
I
helped
love,
me. Yeah,
I
she
love the
she
grandma
pulled me back.
stories.
Yeah.
Because I was raised by my grandmother, and they can always sniff it out.
They sniff it out.
Like, they can sniff it out. And
crazy.
Funny story, when I got to UNC my freshman year, like you, I was skin and bones. Didn't lift no weights and all. I was just all mouth and athletics, right? Like an athlete. And I remember getting there, and at the time, it was a senior. His name was Dexter Reed. Dex, unfortunately, he was famous he was the one that Greg Jones knocked his helmet off.
Gotcha.
When we played Florida State. Yeah. But this is our senior leader, right? Like, this is our leader. He's been there, he's all ACC, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I come in there, and like we're doing when you come in, they do the strength test, right? Like how much you can bench, and now they gauge your numbers off that. So I come in, and they put 135 on the bench, and I lift off one, boom. I go for 2, and I'm shaking like a stripper.
No.
Bro, I'm shaking like a stripper.
Stop, bro.
And so Dex is standing there, and Dex had this really loud voice, deep voice, loud. It wasn't deep, but it was loud. It was like a siren.
Right.
And Dex is like, this is the mother that y'all thought was going to come in here and help change our program.
Right.
This week can't lift 135.
Right.
And I was like,
Right.
I'm going home. I was like, I quit.
Like-
I was like, I'm not doing this. I was
Right.
like, what is this?
Bro.
This is crazy.
Crazy.
And the same thing. Like I was like, about Liam McGrath was like, no. Coach pulled me in. He was like, listen, relax. Everybody came in here like this. I'm like, man, like these are men. I'm like, I'm this young boy. I can't lift this weights. The seniors are yelling at me. I want to fight. I'm going home. Like I'm just gonna go home, man. Like, this ain't. I thought this was something different, and it ain't what it is. And it, I mean, of course, it worked out, right?
Obviously.
It worked out in the end. But
Absolutely.
But to have that freshman moment,
that's
is,
hey, I sure 135, bro. I went into 135 because I feel you, bro. Shaking like booty me out.
boy.
Bro,
I'm talking about. I mean, hips off the bench.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there trying to hump that 135
Right.
back up, and it ain't moving.
Yeah.
And
I
all
know
the
it.
cats
I know
looking at
it
me was
well.
like, "This supposed to be the big time receiver y'all were telling us about this
No, sir.
week." I was like,
Yeah.
"Boy," but And so now you get into the season, you
Yeah.
redshirt that season,
redshirt.
right?
I redshirt,
And
yep,
so now
yep.
you're having an opportunity now because your team going to win. They won a national
They
championship.
won that
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So from a red shirt perspective, you're looking at that and you're seeing all these, who's your quarterback? Is it Bradford?
So it's Hibble. It's Hibble and White.
Hibble and White.
So,
That's
yeah,
right. That's right.
Hibble
Sorry.
and White. No, yeah, absolutely.
And so
Hibble
like
and White.
these are your quarterbacks and you're watching this. Like, give me some of the names that was on that roster that year.
So at receiver, there was Josh Norman, who's back there now, Antoine Savage, Curtis Fagan, and then there was myself, and then Will Peoples and Antonio Perkins were like Perkins was kind of the highest rated guy that was in there. We had essentially a deep receiver room, and then Jay White was in the mix because he was like one of the first kind of free. He ran like 4.4. Like Jay White was he could dunk and like he was crazy, and he was before his time almost, like, but he was crazy with it. And then in the line we had and so Jamal was coming up, Wes Sims had came in, so our bookend tackles was looking lovely, and then we had those were the two big ones that came in, and we had some other guys that had already been there early. So the offense was set, and those receivers, Jay Norman, they're senior and junior, and so they're established and coming off a championship, so they can ball. Going into my redshirt freshman year, that obviously is like, I'm probably not getting too much clock with these boys in there, but I'm not thinking about that. I'm young and I'm bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and I'm really happy to be here. I thought I was going to the Air Force, to be honest, and so I would just have fun. And my deal was different from all of them because I was so small. I'm just going to be really quick and make people look really silly.
Right.
And so I wore my 9 because of Peter Warwick, and I did my Peter Warwick thing on practice squad.
We share that love for Peter Warwick as well.
Bro, hey,
I wore 9 in high school and college because of Peter Warwick.
Bro. Hey,
yeah.
And I'm always looking for a cutback. Like,
man, I never had those skills. My dead leg was always dead. It was it. I never had the dead leg, reverse field, run foot. I had to realize that it wasn't in my spirit. It wasn't in, God didn't bless me with that.
They didn't cooperate?
No, I didn't cooperate at all with that. But the number 9, I thought in my head, I was like, Peter Warwick was definitely,
yes, bro. That was the influence, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for real.
He was the guy. So it was fun to basically do the Peter Warwick stuff in practice and anytime I got the ball in my hands, and that led to me getting the opportunity to do it in the field, on the field. Yeah.
So you get through that freshman year, they win the national championship, and now it's your time.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
It's your time. Now you get to the winter workouts, and you get to the spring ball, and like when did you know? Like when did you kind of have that feeling? Like, you know what? I do belong here. Like this ain't too big for me anymore. I'm not only am I one of the guys, but I'm a guy. Like I'm a guy. You know what I'm saying? Like this is now it's time to go.
Yeah. That actually didn't really click till like my junior summer, the summer going into my junior year.
Okay.
Like before that, redshirt freshman and sophomore, I got hurt my sophomore year, so I didn't play too much. But all that phase was just like, man, I know I can play, and I'm just playing. It just is what it is, and I'm here, and this is great. Going into my junior year, I got challenged by Will Peoples. Like, man, bro, you got all these flat, like you could do all this shit. Like, bro, take it serious. And for whatever reason, him saying that, I heard it, and it just clicked. And that summer, me and Jay White put so much work in. Like, I would always be like, bro, hey, let's go to some extra, like, whatever. And going into training camp, it was just, like, one-on-ones was easy. Team, easy. Third, we got to convert, throw it to me.
Right.
Like, it was just, I knew, like, I had it. And they knew I had it. And they were feeding me like that. And that just changed. Like, the game was just totally different.
And
totally
so
different.
That's a great place to be. Like, when it clicks.
Oh, man.
And you know it. Like, that's a level of confidence where when you break the huddle, it's like,
man.
Oh, we good. Let's go.
Oh, we good. Oh, God.
Yeah.
10. Oh, Lord. Like,
and that's something that I think young athletes don't. You know, when you talk about knowing the game and studying the game and being part of the game, it's one thing to have a skill set. It's one thing to have the information and know what the hell you're supposed to be doing with the skill set.
That's right.
Right now, when that starts coming together,
it's deadly.
It's a deadly situation.
Ooh, it is, man.
Because again, if you're at Oklahoma, you can play ball, right? Like if you're at Texas,
you can ball. Absolutely.
Like it's not like you're not at Southern Alabama where it's like,
maybe. Who knows? No.
Maybe no. If you're at one of these programs, it's a room full of dudes who can play ball.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like
physically, you got it.
And that's the part that separates.
Yep.
It separates is the guys who, he can run, he can jump, he can catch. But those that don't know how to line up at, those who can't read coverages,
that's right.
Those don't know when to settle in the hole,
have a great feel.
Don't have a great feel, right? All those things.
Patience, like yes, bro.
Route tempo, like all of that stuff, people, they don't understand. Right. Like that's so much a part of the game than just, he runs a 4-3.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so like, just know that that's the part of the good ones, the ones who really stay long and and have a really good feel of that is. Because we've both been a part of programs, we've both been a part of teams. You've seen some guys who's like, if he just studied, if he just took a little bit of time to understand what he was doing.
Yeah. There's a number of them. And any of the major programs, they have them. To this day, they have them. They're there
to this day,
right now.
There's still some right now in programs you're like,
that's right.
If he just understood. Because now all he thinks is, I'll just go play ball.
Right.
And it's like, but you're missing out on so much more.
True.
Because you won't put the time in to actually look at a defense and know.
And I think coaching is big. I don't think a lot of coaches are really good at developing talent either. I think that's a very rare kind of skill. Well, there's only a handful of coaches at each position, at each level that are good at developing talent. Right. Period. And so, for some guys, it's like, man, it's just, if he was with such and such. And I was fortunate to have, Coach Wyatt. He had Rashawn Woods before he came up down to Norman. And, bro, he was like he was militant about precision. And for whatever reason, his coaching style and how he was, it clicked with me. And, I'm happy for guys who end up in landing positions where, you can see it has clicked for young men, and especially when it clicks early. That is really cool. But, developing talent, our staff was phenomenal. Coach did a great job of putting that staff together. That really took us, beyond where we were at. And
then you have the year, right? You have the year. The numbers, let me read them. And this is funny because I always say this about athletes. Athletes know their stats. Athletes know their stats. They know the games. They know the numbers. Yeah. But I got to read them. I got to read them because, we're talking 20 years ago. Right. Right? I know. I'm sorry to age you. It's crazy. I'm sorry to age you. No, you're good. Me too. I enjoy it. I love being 42. When you hear the numbers and you equate it to today, because even though they were passing the football, you wasn't passing the football. Yeah, that's right. You know what I'm saying? Right. It was still fullback, 2 tight ends. There's a lot of 12 personnel here. There's a lot of 12 personnel here, guys. We're going 12. All this 4 wide receivers, spread them out, shotgun. No, we're under center with 12 personnel. All that. Right. So you have the year. 83 catches, 1,425 yards, 15 of them things. That was crazy. 15 of them things. You smashed all the Oklahoma records. Now, not only are you the big man on campus, you big man in the country, right? Like when I hear 1,400 yards in 2003, I'm like 1,400 yards is a great season today. In a pass happy period. Period.
Yeah.
But in a pass happy shotgun, Joker's just throwing the ball 30, 40 times a game in college football now.
Yeah.
You walk out of there with 1,400 yards, 15 touchdowns.
Man.
You are the Bolitnikoff winner. You know what I'm saying? You are.
Man.
You are the talk of the town. You are in the conversation of being the best wide receiver in the country.
Right.
And to think about that in 2003 is like
crazy.
Insane.
It's crazy. Like
insane.
And that, you know, and so the whole kind of marketing deal around all of that was about yards after catch, Mr. Yak. Like, get the ball, let him go. And that was.
Imagine your NIL deals then. Imagine the NIL money you would have had behind that campaign.
Money you would have. I mean, come on. It would have been crazy, obviously.
Oh, I would have. I'm a two-sport athlete. I would have loved it.
Oh, yeah.
I would have loved it. I would have. What? I would have been.
Instant. Yeah.
Man. Oh, listen. It would have been. Honestly, for me, in my immaturity, I'm thankful it didn't happen because I would have been gone.
Right.
Like I would have been out of control.
Me too.
I would have been out of control.
Not for me or you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
God knew. I was just gonna
say. Like my grandmother passed when I was in college, and she left me a couple dollars. You know, me and my brothers a couple dollars. So I had a little bit of
taste.
You know what I'm saying? A little taste
at that age.
And then I had, of course, I had the handshakes. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
You know,
you had a handshake too.
You had the handshake.
Definitely had a handshake too.
Like, hey, come down here and wash a car, and you wash a window.
We're like, wow.
We won't get into that. We won't. Yeah, but
I should do this more often.
Yeah. Like, hey, he's washing cars down here at this BMW dealership.
Like, wow.
Yeah, I squeeze you the window.
Exactly.
I squeeze you the window. I squeeze you
Literally.
one window. I squeeze you one window, and I made my.
Right.
I got a glass of water, and I made myself comfortable for the rest of the day. You know.
Yes, indeed.
But
that's funny.
So as you're exiting, right, you got the likes of like guys like Adrian Peterson coming to town. And what was he? Because I remember him from the league, and I thought he was built in a factory. Like was this a dude you saw his freshman year and was like, oh, he can go play with the big boys right now. Out
the blocks, absolutely. Adrian was a Greek god, bro.
Yeah,
like everybody knew he didn't have no business really being there. Like. I don't know how coaching them pulled that off. What it come to find out was the call to his pop, like the love that they showed his pops, which is amazing. But that's like a switcher move. That's genius. Anyway,
No, I was gonna say our good friend Tashard Choice was also a running back there, and when he when he saw
we had to talk,
and Tashard was like, man, because it was Adrian Peterson. It was the other back that was there. It was another back.
Kewan Jones,
and he was like, I'm not gonna play. Like I'm not gonna play. So I need to jump in the portal. Bro. I need to jump in the portal.
That's why he did. Yeah, that's my bro. Yeah. We had to talk before he took off the GT, and I told him, I was like, bro, he gotta go.
Yeah,
you do, because them dude, like that dude and that dude, he's senior, and then them, and then it's like, bro. I was like, bro, you're gonna be good though. Like, you're gonna be good though, but
it won't be here. It's not here. Here's not the place you'll be good at.
Yeah.
I mean, and it made a great decision for him. He went back home.
Absolutely.
He went back to Atlanta with the Georgia Tech and had a great career and had a great professional career. Now he's coaching opposite.
At UT,
it's
love.
It's all love. It's all. That's our guy.
That's my guy. Exactly.
Listen, he's your guy except one day of the year.
Exactly.
One day of the year, he's like,
it's a mutual understanding.
Yeah, they understand. So you get through all that. Come up short. To Larry Fitzgerald. Not a bad guy to come up short.
That's okay. Hall of Fame.
Like at the end of the day, at the end of the day, you could go.
GOAT.
At that time, you're like, well, I'm better than him. But when you look back, you go, all right, not a bad guy to lose to.
Absolutely.
Lose to Bolitnikoff to Larry Fitzgerald. And I would give you my personal so as you guys are exiting school. In 2003, I'm entering college.
Gotcha.
Right.
Oh,
so I'm on. So now I'm looking at guys as a taller receiver. I'm looking at because again, Mike Williams. Right. I'm looking at Mike Williams. I'm looking at guys like Larry Fitzgerald.
Right.
Mike Williams actually was my host when I went to Michigan State. Was one of my best visits at Michigan State. They took very good care of me at Michigan State. And I would have probably ended up at Michigan State had they not fired the coach before I got there. I would have probably ended up there because of the visit by Mike Williams. But that was for me, right? Because you come and the size of Peter Warwick, he was a smaller guy, quicker guy, and I was like, well, you know what? I'm 6'2", and I'm not the quick guy. This is not my game.
That's
like
right.
my game is like what Larry Fitzgerald's game is.
That's
My
right.
game is what Mike Williams' game is,
That's
and I'm
right.
like, but then that began to give me hope because I was like, oh,
Yeah.
because I didn't see big, tall receivers like that coming up, and then I'm from the East Coast, so I'm like, what I saw on TV was Notre Dame, Penn State,
Yep.
Nebraska,
Yep.
Michigan,
Man.
and they all running the ball,
Yep.
right? So I'm like,
Not attractive.
not at all.
Like, nah.
Not at
Yeah.
all. And I laugh
Yep.
because I look back on it, and because of my lack of culture outside of the state of New Jersey,
Yeah.
and not understanding what different places were and looked like because I had never been.
Yeah.
So there were offers from Oklahoma. There were offers from me from Texas. There were offers from me from Oklahoma State. And I was like, don't waste y'all time. Because I'm like, I'm not coming to those places. Because all I knew was like, hey, you go to like that Midwest type of Southern type thing, they're going to hang a black kid down there, right? So like,
this is where you at.
this is
Okay.
where I'm at
Yeah,
in my
yeah,
head.
yeah.
I'm in my head
I got
like,
no
I'm
clue.
from the inner city of New Jersey.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know anything outside of Maryland, right? Like
That's
Maryland, like I said, everything Maryland, Penn State, Ohio State, Maryland,
Yeah.
Ohio, all that is what I see on TV every day. You see the Miami because Miami at that time was in the Big East.
Yep.
Right?
Oh, yeah,
They were
that's right.
playing
Yeah,
Rutgers.
so they were playing
They were
Rutgers.
playing.
They
They were playing
Penn
up,
State.
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
so they were playing Penn State. They were playing those games, of course, NBC, Notre Dame. So this is
Right.
all I see. Right. I don't, you know, you'll see the Florida State, but I don't see the Texases. I don't see the Oklahomas. I don't know that. I don't see it. I'm not really privy to it. And like you, I'm not locked in every Saturday to college football. I'm outside.
Right.
I'm
Exactly.
doing
Yeah,
what young kids. I'm outside.
actually
I'm hooping.
like something.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
Whatever.
Like,
Yeah.
We
Absolutely.
didn't have all the 7-and-7 circuits and like they have
Yeah,
now.
y'all
Like,
didn't. That's right. Northeast was- yeah.
No, like we didn't have all that. Like
That's right.
you had
That's right.
some like you do like the rivals camp every now
Yep.
and again, but I'm
Wow.
playing AAU ball.
That's right. Yep.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So it's like that was my mindset at that point in time.
Yeah.
But so you get
Yeah,
through
so,
Oklahoma, and now it's draft time. Where did you end up training at? Like where were you?
So I went to API. I was
Okay.
out in Tucson.
Okay.
Or Tempe.
Okay.
Tucson.
So-
But, yeah, I was in Tempe at API.
And so now tell me about the draft process, right? Like how are you feeling going into this thing? What are they saying to you? You feeling first round? You know, what teams are talking to you? Combine. Did you play in an All-Star game then?
I did. Yes, I played in the Senior Bowl.
Senior Bowl,
So
okay.
I went to the Senior Bowl.
Okay.
And that was,
so let's
yeah.
speak of that space right there.
Yeah. And so for me, I was a kind of a cusp 1-2 guy, you know, going into it, and my agent was like, "Yo, like, yeah, you should definitely do the Senior Bowl because that's where everybody's gonna be, and you'll be able to, you know, kind of establish yourself a little bit more." It's like, cool. So I go to the Senior Bowl, had a great Senior Bowl, had some great conversations with everybody, and come out of that, and my agent was like, "Man, all you got to do now is run fast." Like literally just run fast. I was like, bet. So we go out to Tempe, and I get to training, and bro, I got out there. I was like a 4.5 when I first got out there, but by the time I left, we was clocking like, you know, 4.38, 4.39, 4.40, and so I was feeling good going to the combine.
Yeah.
And getting in there, you know, the combine is you know, you feeling the weight of the light and the moment.
Right.
Like, you can feel that, and it was. I mean, it was good because it was like playing in a championship game almost. And I think, you know, today is even more, you know, of a spectacle. But you could see more kind of what's going on with the guys. For us, you know, it was hidden, and I'm more of a kind of a to myself guy, and I keep everything in, and I'm not a rah-rah guy. I ain't gonna give no speech or nothing like
Right.
that. I'm locked in, and I'm ready to go, and I'm always like, all right, next, what's next, and lock in on that and get it done. And so getting there was, for me, that was the first time that I was feeling kind of anxious. I was kind of, you know, because I saw what the NFL was, and I saw where I was headed or had the potential to be, and I felt that weight. And I think that anxiety and, you know, really wanting to do good played in my favor. And it kept me on my P's and Q's, and I ran. I got down, and I gave everything my little hamstrings had, and we went, I don't know what it was like 4-4, low 4-4, whatever. And I was like, man, like I was just smiling. Like he was like, man, you did it, and I was like, the MC's just smiling. But yeah, no, it was my agent. did a great job walking me through it.
Right.
And I was in a really good place. API was a tremendous, facility,
Right.
and all the guys,
A lot of guys at that time was going to API.
That's where they went. And so I had a great cast around me, just helping me navigate it, and then getting there, and the performance was just all the work that was put in before.
Right. So like once you got put in the running part, it was like, I can run these routes. I can do the
routes. Was
that was easy.
Yeah,
that was the easy part. It was like once I get past this 40, all the rest of that stuff.
Oh yeah, we rock and roll.
Yeah, we rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
And draft day.
Yep, draft day.
Draft day's coming. What's your draft party looking like? You
At
low
the crib.
key at the crib.
Yep, same.
Just
I would have been
family?
on a boat like Joe Thomas if it wasn't for my mom. Like, nah, we having people.
Right,
I was
right.
like, all right. And so so we was at home. I was at home, and we had she invited, the friends, the family, and I think we had a couple new stations out, and my coach, all the coaches and stuff. She did a really good job like putting it together.
Right. Phone rings.
Yep. Ozzy.
Was it Ozzy?
It was Ozzy.
Ozzy calls you?
Yeah.
And he says what?
He's like, he said, hey, Mark. And I was like, what's up? He's like, you ready to be a Raven? And I was like, yep. He's like, all right, you up next. And for me, that call was so simple, and it was so quick. Like, I just, it was what it was. But then I sat there, and then on the TV, you see tags come up, and then
Right.
And then when they say that just sent me like.
With the number 22
Wicked
overall
it.
pick, the Baltimore Ravens select.
Yeah, like it's so crisp to this day, and that, bro, I couldn't even contain myself, So I'm hugging my mom and everybody, and everybody was celebrating. It was a good time.
So now you initially you get to Baltimore, right? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like the system starts all over again, right? It's like you leave high school, you get to college, and you're like, do I belong here?
Right.
Now you go to the college, you go through the draft process, and now you're in Baltimore. You walk in the locker room, and now you're looking around this locker room, man. I want you to name, because I want you. You walk into this locker room, and this is like.
Yeah,
this is a locker room.
It's a locker
room,
right?
So like you walk into this is a locker room of locker rooms. You walk in here,
bro.
Here it is, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed again, because now you're a rookie and you're a first-round pick. So there's a level of expectation that comes along with this.
Absolutely,
right? So you walk in this locker room, and I'm scanning the locker room for you, and I'm looking around, and I'm saying, 52.
Yep.
20.
Yep.
Like
37.
37. Oh, 37. What? You looking in like
what?
Whoa, right? Like
96, like it kept going.
So and the names and the numbers that I'm naming 5'5", right? So the names that you're talking about is Ray Lewis.
Yep.
This is Ed Reed.
That's right.
This is Terrell Suggs.
Deion Sanders. This is Prime.
This is
Jonathan Ogden.
Jonathan Ogden. Oh, Jonathan Ogden. Right. Like you got.
Absolutely.
Is Nada there? He
not
there?
Yet.
Not yet. Right?
Not yet.
But
nope.
You're talking about.
It was Bart was in that, like before he was Bart.
This is 5 Hall of Famers in there, right? Like you're looking around, you're saying like this is, like what are you feeling at that moment?
Samari Road, Dale Carter, we were so deep. But it was, I was so like I don't feel like too much to me, because it's like when it comes to football, it's just ball. Like I don't, I didn't really get that really until the first game where we played on I think it was a Sunday night or a Monday night game, where that energy was real and Ray did his thing, and that I felt that.
Right.
Everything before that was like, I'm starting, and I'm here to do whatever I got to do as a receiver to help us win ball games. I'm on business, like strictly business. And so if we go back and look at the film in training camp, I'm pretty sure they're like, man, this kid, he really got it like that. Like,
right.
And then I didn't miss nothing. Our playbooks were so. I was one of the kids that was just like, man, this playbook is there anything else? Can we add to this? Like, why don't we call auto? Like, let's check out of this stuff. Like, because I was a quarterback. I was also an engineer mind, and so playbooks for me, I could pick them up like cake. And so it was fun that to see them respect the fact that, man, this kid, he's serious. Like, he studies, he knows his shit, and he makes it happen. Like, I was making plays in training camp and ended up, starting that year, which was, it was a great year. We didn't win that much, but it was an amazing year, amazing experience with all those guys, all that leadership, all that experience. Like it was an amazing first year that I having with them.
That's crazy because most guys that come from college, the biggest part is learning the terminology.
Yep.
It's coming to the league, and now you're going from college where a lot of times it was more simplistic in the play calling. And then you get to the league, and now it's the sentence is a paragraph.
Absolutely.
Right? It's there's hots, there's sights, there's motions, there's checks and all that kind of stuff. And you're like, wait, hold on, we didn't do this. We didn't do this 5 months ago. Like we didn't do this. We didn't do this 5 months ago. But you also came in a time like myself where I don't want to talk about the kids nowadays, but you had 2-a-days, 3-a-days at times.
Yes.
Full pads.
Absolutely.
Like you were grinding. You were grinding.
Yeah,
like it was a different grind.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. Like rookie minicamp was
a grind.
Like I literally thought to myself when I was in rookie minicamp, I said, I can't do this. Because it was like 40 of us, and you had every rep, every period, every special teams. And I didn't play much special teams in college. So so I'm like, yeah, you on the kickoff. I'm like, kickoff? Dang. They're like, oh, we punt.
Oh, you a big time like that?
Yeah,
I was on special teams in college. I was on everything.
No, I wasn't.
You wasn't on
No.
You were about that life?
No, they wasn't. They knew not to put me out there. I was like, listen, brother, y'all brought me here to catch football. That's it. I'm not running down on.
Bro, nothing. I was always looking to knock somebody out.
No, I didn't want no. I didn't want no contact.
I was like that.
Like I didn't want no contact.
That was crazy.
No. I was like, I'm gonna stand over here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be pretty.
That's funny.
I'm gonna be clean. My uniform gonna be looking nice. My socks gonna be looking good. No.
Yeah.
And then you get to the league, and it's like.
Yeah, you got that.
You L5.
Gunner.
You the gunner.
You L5.
Yeah, I'm L5.
5. Yeah, you almost in. Yeah, you in the mix, bro.
You PP. You the wing.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm on the wing. I'm looking at Jude out there. And I'm like,
right.
He's a D tackle.
That's right.
Like I'm like, Coach, how do I? He's like, you better figure it out. I'm like,
drop your ass, son.
I'm like, come on. Yeah. I'm like, this is not. This. He's like, you got to hold him up for 2 seconds. The punt will be. It'll be away in 2 seconds. And I'm just like. You got to just eat that sometimes. You know what I mean?
That's right.
But that's because I was thinking about. I'm like, man, when you get to a space like that, when you think about Ed Reed and Ray Lewis and those guys, like those dudes were really big on the importance of the little things when it comes to the game, the studying, the film, all that kind of stuff. So that wasn't a hard transition.
I got to soak. It wasn't hard, but it also made those conversations great. So I got to soak a lot of from Ed. Yeah. And Prime, like, hey, what are you seeing on this? Like, we had this. I saw you do that. What was you looking at?
Right.
Like, what was you thinking? And a lot of that played into making the game, like, so simple. One time, like, training camp, Chris McAllister, there's a name. He covers me on the post corner, and I'm running this route, and I'm 4 steps, and I'm going.
Right.
4 steps, post. Bow, come out tight, and he's sitting outside, just sitting outside. I was like, how? Like,
right.
He's like, bro, your quarterback. The quarterback never raised his shoulders. I knew you weren't going deep, and I knew it. He's like, your quarterback never raised his shoulders. I was like, that's insane. He didn't look at me. Like, he didn't look at me, and he covered me, and I thought that was incredible. I'd never seen that in my life, or knew that could even be done.
Right.
He's like, I'm not looking at you, but I can feel you.
Right.
I'm watching him and feeling you. And when he don't give me what I'm looking for, I ain't going nowhere.
Man, that's
straight up. Like,
that's the information.
Mind blown.
So now, who's your guy? Like in the locker room, you come in, you're one of the young guys. Like, so who is? Because everybody has a locker room. You got your guy. Like this is who I eat with every day. This is who I kick it with. This is who practice. Your dude. Like who was your dude in the locker room?
Yeah, my dude was Daniel Wilcox.
Okay.
Shouty. Yeah. He was a tight end. From Georgia, and bro, we just connected. That was my guy. Like, I don't know, we just connected. We're like guys, and he took care of him. He was there. He was that was probably his third year in or so. So fairly close, and he was just kind of like a big bro to me.
What was the difficult part of because they're like, are you this new atmosphere? You're in Baltimore now. The physicalness.
It was the physical. Yeah, the physicality. So I'm a grinder, and I work. So. Actually, one of the coaches told me as the season was going, he was like you ain't gonna be able to work that hard. You need to chill out, or you ain't gonna make it. Mm-hmm. But I tried, and I was like, I could put in a little extra. Like I would just do a little extra. But bro, when you get to week 12, 13, 14, bro, them legs are jelly, like jelly. And I'm in games, and I mean, I pride myself on being able to like not come out of the game. That's big. I'm like, nah, I can block. I can pick up route, hots. I can run all the routes. I don't want to come out of the game, bro. Dude, I had a tap.
I'm head tapping all day. Like,
tap,
let's go.
Bro. That's a whole nother beast, because those games are different. The physicality is just different, and I don't know. I'm like, man, it's not like that much bigger and faster or not. We all like got it, but no, it's just a whole nother animal at that level. I think it's mental, which makes you work a little bit different physically.
Right.
It was the physical part got me my rookie year for sure.
Who was the one guy in the locker room you was like, not effing with him? Like, steer clear away from him. Don't want no smoke dealing with that joker.
Bart Scott. No, Bart Scott was he was hilarious, but he was you just know, don't mess with Bart. Like Bart will he'll mess you up.
Favorite teammate of all time?
Ed Reed. Just fun, down to earth, and ridiculously smart. Just knows everything. He knows defense, special teams. Like Ed Reed.
Toughest quarterback to play against. Toughest cornerback. Excuse me. Cornerback to play against.
Man, shoot, Revis. Even young, he was really patient at an early age, which was crazy and mind-blowing. Then we had, in practice, C-Mac was kind of tough. He was 6'1", and pretty, he's stout, and he was pretty patient. It's the patient ones that they get you. Another one was really good was Lee Botton. Lee Botton, who ended up going to the Patriots and getting them a ring, but Lee and Cleveland,
right?
Stout, he was stout.
Fun fact: Revis and I had the same agent. We came out the same year. Nice. We had the same agent, so we lived together in Arizona.
Matched up, you're winning.
It was tough. So I know what you're talking about.
Yes,
we lived in Arizona, and we trained at Fisher Sports in Arizona.
Very nice.
And so seeing young Revis, he was like, and that was the thing about him. He was very patient.
Very patient.
And he was strong.
That's right.
Like that, like even his rookie season.
Yep.
Like you think you got him, and I had when I left college, I had size. Right. Like I was 225 when I finally left college. So I had size.
Right.
But Revis, he could run with you.
Yep.
He was patient.
Yep.
And then when he had to put that hand on you to move you or get you off your spot.
Off your spot, yep. It was, bro.
It was
impressive.
Yeah.
It was very impressive, and it's memorable.
Yeah.
And then no surprise he had the career he had.
For sure.
None.
Who was one of the guys when your team, when you were on the sideline, that you got off the bench and went and watched?
I liked watching Adelius Thomas play because he was like 6'2", he was like the freakiest dude to me. He was like 6'2", 6'3", 270, 75, but he was like a 4'3" guy. And we would put him at end, we put him at linebacker. He played safety some. He played corner for Cincinnati this one time. Anywhere on the field, he would play, and I enjoy watching Adelius because it's weird seeing this big ass dude at corner or when they put him at safety. It was weird, bro, but it was really cool because it's just in the NFL you got these freaks that are just ridiculous, and he was one of them.
Toughest team that you guys had to play. You felt like you guys had to play.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, that was Palomalu back then, and they were running that thing.
That's a physical game, right?
It was, yeah.
That's when football was.
Football. It was ball. Joey Porter. And, oh man, them boys was stout. Yeah, those was great matches.
When you think about Baltimore and that organization, we talk about the Cowboys, we talk about the Patriots, but I don't think there's enough national credit, TV credit, just to talk about just how well run that organization is. Like, and you had a chance to start your career there, be in that organization for a while, and be around and see you were coached by Brian Billick, and you had a little bit of hardball as well, right?
I did.
Yeah. So you of course you had Ozzie.
Yeah.
So you had all, like, just talk a little bit about just how well run that organization is and what makes it so special.
It is a family organization. So I was fortunate to see the handoff between Art and Steve Bisciotti.
Yep.
So rest in peace, Art. But man, it was a beautiful like transition how they did it. Steve would always be around with Art. They would ride in the cart together, and we knew what was up. But Art, the way he ran it's a family organization, and we take care of our administration and our coaches and our players alike. And we make sure that we put time and a focus on what happens with family, outside in. And so it was cool to have like my family around, or like my brother would be around here and there, but they would treat him like he was one of the players. And anybody to this day that spends a little time, have a cup of tea or whatever in Baltimore, will always say like Baltimore was like home. Straight up, and that's because of the way Art ran it and then handed off and showed Steve. It was cool because, getting to know Steve a little bit and going to his office, he has a picture of a kid getting a jersey signed by Johnny Unitas in the rain, and that's Steve Bisciotti. He was like, man, I as a kid was a huge fan, and I'm here at camp, and I think it was one of the last days of camp, and it rained that day. And he's standing out there, and Johnny U says that he was going into the locker room real quick, but he said he'll be back. He waits for him. He stands outside and he waits for him. He comes back and he signs his jersey. And obviously he got a picture. Somebody had a picture of it, and he'll never forget it. And fast forward, he's now the owner of the Baltimore Ravens. But just kind of that and what that meant to him and how grateful he is in those moments and throughout his life, that flows downhill through the organization, and you can feel that, as a player or anybody. I mean, our fans obviously know that, but if anybody was to go around and do a tour or do anything and have Harbaugh, come up, you'll feel like he's known you for a while, and he's gonna sit there and have a conversation with you, and he's just down, like everybody for the most part is just down to earth like that. Just really cool.
If you had to take one moment from your time in the National Football League, no matter where you were at, what was the moment that you will say, like, that you would want put in lights, right? Like, what was your
frame it?
Yeah, what was that moment that you would say this was I'll never forget this moment?
I will never. It's a couple, but one I will never forget.
Give us two. All
right, I will never forget my first game, my first moment as my first game as an NFL player, and then my last one. A Sunday night game, rookie year Sunday night game versus Indianapolis Colts, and so Peyton Manning, who obviously is like that's Peyton Manning, that's Reggie Wayne, those are them boys, like that's them. That was amazing for me. And then my last game, essentially as a Ram, never forget, like, because I didn't know that was my last game, but it was my last game, and it obviously set the trajectory for what life is after football.
Right.
And so I'll always remember those.
What was the best thing you say you bought? And what was the one thing you would say, why the hell did I buy that?
Let me see. Why the hell did I buy a $1 million house and didn't even really stay in it?
That's a slight flex. I bought $1 million crib, really didn't stay in it.
And the best thing I bought was I really loved this. It was a custom Mercedes that was still the funnest car that I had. It was a V12 CL whatever 60 something. I don't remember that, but it was like the funnest car that I've pretty much ever had.
You still have it, or you?
No, I don't. But it was fun. It was fun while it lasted.
And you talked about your last game with the Rams, like you didn't know it was your last game, but was there a moment in time, like even after that, where you were like, yeah, I'm done?
Yeah.
Like what was that thought? Because I remember, I remember I was in New England, and I was sitting, I was like,
nope, that ain't happening.
I was like, and I couldn't quit, but I was like, I'm in training camp. I'm in training camp, and I'm like,
oh, this is training camp.
Yeah, I'm just like,
early. Yeah.
So I'm like, if they come knock on this door and say, bring your playbook, I will be the happiest person in the world. Right? Like I just knew I was like, I don't have the love, because I was the person that I loved to work. I loved to study. I loved the grind of football. And when that no longer became fun to me,
oh yeah, no, you can't.
I said, this for them.
You'd be miserable.
I was miserable. I was like,
I
used to love to compete. I used to love the challenge of competing. I used to love the fact of learning something new, working through something, learning and I was like, this is difficult now. Like this is a struggle for me to stay after practice. Yeah. This is a struggle for me to come back to my room and dive into the playbook and stand in the hallway and run my plays. You know what I'm saying, to myself. Like that part became hard. And I was like,
that gonna make practice suck.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
No, mine was, well, it was in I can't remember who we were playing, but it was on a punt return. And so I had to rupture patella tendon, and I had made it back. And on this punt return, going out there it was kind of like before the game, it was kind of like, I don't know. But on this punt return, I'm going out to, get at 42 or whatever, and my knee was just sliding. And as soon as I heard the thud, like boom, it was a beautiful punt and plenty of space. And when I started going back to get in position, it was just sliding, and I knew, nah, I can't do it. Like I'm good. And so I was fair catch, boom, plenty of space. Went back to the sideline, and I was like, man, hey, like I'm out. Like I can't even go. So I said, put Danny in, and we'll re up at the end of this, but I can't go no more. That was it. That was it. Like that was it. I wasn't fixing, because in my mind, I'm like, this is what is your 7, 8, 7. And I'm like, I'm still, I'm wanting to be able to walk.
Right.
Like I'm like, man, this is great, but I want my knees to be straight as I get older. And so at that time, it's just like, I'm all right. Like I need to go get this addressed, and then we'll assess it. But that was it.
That was it. You gracefully bowed out.
Yep. It was like, I'm good. This was an amazing, unexpected journey, and I absolutely loved it.
All right, so now I kind of want to go back, not go back, but I want to go back and speak about Oklahoma, right? But in 2023. And it's kind of full circle for you, because you said earlier, Venables was the one who recruited you, and now he's back as head coach. One, just where you feel the state of Oklahoma football is right now, and now how do you feel that they're transitioning now into the SEC?
Going to play with them big boys.
Yeah.
Man, I feel really good having Brent Venables leading this team, the university at this time in college football history. I think teams that are tough, that are defense, focused, defense-minded teams, are the teams that will be the most successful from now until history. But with BV, man, I just knowing him, knowing his passion, knowing what he's about, knowing his level of detail and focus, and what he's going to want to demand from the guys, I was ridiculously happy to that Joe Castiglione hired him. Yeah. And so going into the SEC, I wouldn't want to go in there with anybody else. You have to have somebody who understands defense and who understands really pushing the team, because I know the workouts today are not the workouts that we had back in the day.
Right.
But I know you can push guys and put pressure on guys in a way that is going to make the game easier, And so I remember, going through all of our off-season training and what training camp was for us, and it made us playing on Saturdays cake. It was just fun. That was the bonus, actually. And so I'm pretty sure, and from what I've heard, and seen some, they go through it. Like he puts them through it, bro, and he makes sure that they're ready to play on Saturdays. And if anything, they're gonna play with their ears pinned back and their hair on fire.
So you feel like Oklahoma is set, ready to go, and the transition won't be as drastic as people may think. Because you're leaving one conference and like anything else, you build your teams according to the people that you're going to play within that conference.
Right.
And now you're headed into a different beast. Right.
Yeah.
Like you're heading into a different beast, and maybe you may say that the SEC is kind of top heavy. Of course, you have your Georgias and your Alabamas and your Tennessees and stuff like that. But you have a good feeling that the leadership that's on this Oklahoma football team right now, they're poised to have a good running in the SEC. It won't look like little, like you won't little bro me.
Little kid, yeah.
You won't you don't feel like Oklahoma's gonna be little broed.
Not little bro, yeah. Not little. Week to week, it's not going to be 40-10.
Right.
No. I think, and to me, with what we got returned on defense and the way coach has built the defense and continue to recruit and bring kids in through the portal is inside out, defense line, offensive line out. And I'm like, that's championship ball. Like if you're going to be in the SEC, in between the lines, the trenches. You must be stout. Like you don't have a choice, or you will get ran out. And I think we've done a great job of putting guys in there that are stout.
Do you think college football is ruined? Like, do you think with the new way of the NIL, the portal, and how guys can jump in and jump out and just transfer at the drop of a dime? Like, do you think? Because when we came up, it was a little bit more controlled, and I like the fact that players are getting paid. I do like that fact.
Yep.
But I think the NCAA for so long tried to keep it in their favor that when it flipped, it went so far left. Right? It was like a huge overcorrection.
Right. There was a dam.
Right. Yeah, and it broke.
It broke completely.
And so do you
everything at once.
Like is college football ruined? Like the days of like being able to really see college football and see guys, because you may go in September and see a squad, and that squad look completely different in January.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, did that ruin college football? Did it enhance college? Like, where do you feel with the NIL and the portal and all that?
I love the NIL, of course. Like, I love guys getting paid, but I also love the fact that kids can have a freshman year, be freshman All-American, and say, you know what, I'm gonna go hit the market, because I'm going to see what I can get, like straight up. And I know if I go somewhere, I'm going to be able to plug in, play, make plays, and do what I do. I think the challenge in college football, I don't think it's ruined. I don't think it's ruined. I think the challenge now becomes coaches that can get a group of men in January, develop them, put a product on the field at the beginning of the season, and truly try to make a run at a championship is more difficult.
Yeah.
It's way more difficult. But I think the coaches that do it and do it well will do it well. I think there's going to be more parity. I've always thought the bottom of college football has been rising, because what we did not have when we were younger was trainers.
Correct. Yes.
At all. We didn't have no these, and so
the one-on-one personal trainer.
The one-on-one personal trainer, exactly. We didn't have
the
trainers
and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And so today, goodness, like kids, 8 years old, 7 years old, they got personal one-on-one trainers, and people like me telling a 10-year-old to think about whatever that I was thinking about while I was in the NFL, that flows downhill.
Right.
And it's going to be beautiful for the bottom tier of college football. And so I think there will be more parity in college football as time goes on, with the transfer portal and the raising of the quality of the skill between college players, and that's going to make those 12 teams that get into that last tournament, that's going to make that intriguing to me. I think that them moving to a 12-team tournament was monumental, and they had to do it because it needed something to keep kids in these games.
Right.
That's one of them. I think there should be more. Kids getting paid. I think kids should get paid for bowl games too. I think there should be some kind of bonus thing for teams, for kids going into bowl games, especially if you make the final 12. I think those are two things that help incentivize kind of at the end of the season where you're seeing full rosters go at it. But I think the level of college football, I mean, the quality of college football will remain the same because I think the quality's going up.
How do you feel about contracts? Like, for example, like, hey, you come to Oklahoma. Right now, we're saying a 4-year deal. You're a quarterback, right? You're a 5-star. We're saying 4-year deal, $6 million. But if you leave, you don't get that.
Okay. I mean, I think
that's the biggest gripe right now. It's like, because like you said, I can have a kid in January.
That's right.
Who
leaves
no one really knows. And I take all spring and all summer and I develop and I work and I put the time, energy, and effort in. And then he blows up in September, October, November, and then he's gone.
That's right.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so if I'm a smaller school and I develop this player and now Oklahoma steps in and go,
yep, which is going to happen.
Which is going to happen.
Yep.
Right?
You're right.
But if you're able to lock these kids into it, I'm throwing out scenarios of if you're able to say, all right, hey, we're going to give you a 2-year deal, $250,000, because this kid, is whatever it is,
right.
And now you kind of have to be locked into that because even at the higher level, because now you have it where you have Oklahoma kids.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Caleb Williams.
Look at Caleb Williams.
Yeah, Caleb Williams.
We just had a Caleb Green left and went to Missouri, freshman.
Right.
Killed. Yep.
And so you're like, shoot, dog, we were planning on you being here next year.
Yeah.
And then now you up and you're in California,
right? Because
coach goes there, and I get all that kind of stuff. But it's like,
no doubt,
now you left a void that we have to fill.
Well, guess what? I mean, obviously, coaches ain't switching every year, but I mean they're switching, and they let a coach come in, do a tremendous job with the team, and get an offer. He's probably going to leave, especially if it was on like a lower to mid team. He definitely. And so those players are looking, the same way. And the coaches, they should know. I mean, they know that. They know this is a stepping stone. And then as a coach at a mid and lower tier level, it's my job to make this player as good as possible because you know what? We're going to get another one. And you know what's going to happen? Man, this coach, he developed him. He developed him. He developed his next job is going to be at Georgia. Right. His next job is going to be a head guy over there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so I love the market, the open market that says if you are really good as a player or as a coach, you have the ability that year to switch team, to move on, or do whatever it is that you want to do. I like the pressure on coaches to have 60 guys come in January, and y'all got 3/4 of it, well, not even 2/3 of the year to figure it out.
Right.
Because you got to show up in September, and we're going to see what you got. I like that.
Okay. No.
I like that challenge accepted, bro. I like it.
All right, so
we're going to see who got it.
We'll end with this. Two things. We're in the playoff season now, right?
Yeah.
And your Ravens, number 1 seed.
Not bad.
Not bad.
They're not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad this year.
They're playing football this week.
Yeah.
Had the bye week last week.
3:30 Saturday.
What do you feel like? Is this the year that they have to take that next step? Lamar Jackson and company, like, do they have to take that next step of, all right, we've been flirting around with this thing for a while, and we got some weapons in there. Some things are happening for us. They signed the running back from the Jets, Dalvin Cook.
Big signing.
So that's huge. That's huge.
That's huge. He's a dude.
But now it's like everything is.
The pressure's there.
Yeah.
It's real. I think Lamar definitely has the most riding on, like most pressure on his shoulder, like for sure, because of everything that comes with and has been, circled around Lamar and already having an MVP and headed to number 2. To me, it's real. It has to. It's like it really is Super Bowl or bust with what we've built Lamar kind of into, and then his performance has been, like otherworldly, just super efficient, I'll say. And so, that pressure's there, and in addition to what he puts on himself. Like he says it publicly, and with no shame, no fear. That's what it's about. And so, Yes, and do I think I have no doubt in my mind, and taking a week off, having a week off, like getting a bye week, offenses sometimes struggle. Passing game mostly struggles after a bye week. But what I think is beautiful about Baltimore is that our defense is ridiculous, and we're number one to run. We run the ball, and Lamar has legs that can be used to kind of stave off whatever passing lull or whatever happens in the passing game. And so that I think that sets us up and gives us a really, really good chance to dominate Houston.
To make some noise. Mm-hmm. That's a good story in Houston. I like that story that they have going on there with C.J. Stroud and DeMeco Ryans.
It's awesome.
But, yeah, Baltimore is definitely I had said all year long that the Niners were the best team in football until I watched the Ravens put a hurting on them.
Everybody
right?
said that.
Yeah, like they put their hands on the Niners. And I was like, I watched the Niners and I was like, bro, they're so well orchestrated and built offensively, defensively, special teams. I was like, it's going to be tough to beat them. And then Baltimore was like, we're going to put these paws on them.
That's right.
And they did that. And so I'm interested to see how they fare this playoffs. And I'll end with this because we are in Cowboy country. And whether you're a Cowboy fan or you're not a Cowboy fan,
we talk Cowboys.
We talk Cowboys. They're in the A block at all times. What do you make of the Cowboys? It's just as an organization as a whole, and then what happened last week, and now they bring back Mike McCarthy. Like what is your feeling about just Cowboy Nation right now?
Cowboys feel like a spectacle almost, and I mean it is America's team, and they're always in the light. And the last few years have been good, minus the first round exits. And when I look at the Cowboys, I always say if they're not built strong down the middle, they will never get back to where they were at. The D lines of old, their O line of old, and Dallas offense is great, and we know offense sells tickets. Yep. Defense wins championships. So every game I'm watching, I'm like, man. Or anytime they're going to play somebody that knows how to run the ball, that knows how to scheme up, or has a really good run scheme and run the ball well, and then marry that with the passing game, to me, I'm not taking that bet. I'm betting against Dallas because for whatever reason, they have not built that defense from the inside out. And when they're lining up safeties at linebacker, I'm telling you, like that ain't going to
I told people all that's not going to work. That's not going to work. No.
That ain't it.
Is Dak Prescott good enough to win it all?
I believe so. I'm a Tony Romo dude, but Dak has, to me, he's grown. Like I've enjoyed watching him progress, and I know the work that he puts in. Like I know what he wants. I know he's like so passionate about everything that he's doing. I think Dak can physically get it done, absolutely, without a doubt. Mentally, I think it takes a staff around him, and he needs a defense. Like he has to have a defense. Anybody that's really won the Super Bowl, they had a decent enough defense to get them or set him up to have the game-winning drive or to have the opportunity to make the play to win the game. And sometimes the defense won the game. And so without that, Dak will never win a championship. And so I know they're keeping, Coach McCarthy, and I think, everybody loves McCarthy as a person. But, man, if he's not putting his stamp on the fact that defense needs to change from a physicality standpoint, they're not going to do anything different. They're going to win a bunch of games and lose the ones that matter most.
Is CeeDee Lamb, has he finally ascended into that conversation of an elite receiver? Do you put in that conversation
1000%.
with Tyreek Hill and Jamar Chase and all those guys?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's
elite.
not biased, right? That's not biased by you.
Yeah, because obviously he's a Sooner. It's all love. I know.
It's not a biased thing, right?
That's my guy.
Okay. I'm just making sure. I'm making sure this is an honest conversation. This is unfiltered. It's unfiltered with Jesse Holley. I want to be I don't want to bias.
Like this, I did not have him in that.
Okay.
I did not have. I had him in the same Dez category. Okay. Like I did. I think Dez is an absolute boss when it comes to ability, playmaking ability, explosive plays, just explosive dude. I put CD in that category, not elite receiver. Okay. Last year he took a step. This year he took another step, and he did it at a high level consistently. couple years in a row, that's special. This year was extremely special, and it's also IQ because he don't just play over there. He don't just play over there. They move him here, there, and everywhere. That is elite.
Yeah.
Period. So yeah.
All right, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Appreciate you
Thank you,
having
man.
me.
All right,
Love
man.
it.
You got to know what you got to
Love
do. Like, subscribe, hit the notification button on all platforms. Mr. Fourth and Long on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, Fanatic Views, Unfiltered with Jesse Holley on YouTube. And remember, ask yourself the question, what would Big U tell Big U that could help you in the future? All right. Eliminate the contingencies. I'm out.